Somewhere in Central America, there's a canal route so obvious that engineers spotted it 500 years ago. It barely requires any locks. Ships would practically sail through on their own. America looked at it, said no, and built a harder canal somewhere else instead. One is failing. The other one? China just started measuring. Two places on this entire continent let you cross from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Two. One of them required the United States to move mountains. The other one, nature basically finished the job herself. In Nicaragua, the San Juan River runs 190 kilometers from the Caribbean coast into Lake Nicaragua, a freshwater sea sitting at the heart of Central America. 8,264 square kilometers of calm water at nearly sea level. From the lake's western shore, it's a short hop to the Pacific. For ships, this isn't a route. It's practically a welcome mat. The terrain doesn't fight you, the elevation barely changes. That's the natural corridor, the one nature drew. The latest proposal shifts the specific route, but the strategic logic begins right here. Compare that to Panama, where the canal climbs ships 85 feet over a mountain range using a system of locks, draining 52 million gallons of fresh water with every single passage. Panama is an engineering marvel. Nicaragua was an engineering gift. So why did America choose Panama? In 1904, the US Congress was planning to dig across Central America, and Nicaragua was the favorite. Better geography, more natural water. Then, a French lobbyist fighting for Panama made a brilliant move. He sent every senator a Nicaraguan postage stamp featuring an erupting volcano, Mount Momotombo. The message was unmistakable. Panama won by 8 votes. America operated that canal for 95 years. Construction to handover, 1904 to 1999. And for all that time, they didn't need to think about Nicaragua again. But now there's a problem. In 2023 and 2024, the rains didn't come. The canal depends entirely on rainfall to fill the Gatun Lake Reservoir that powers its locks. The region experienced its worst drought in decades. Ship transits were cut by 29%. Vessels rerouted around the southern tip, adding 10 to 14 days to each journey, burning extra fuel, blowing shipping schedules around the world. Think about what that means. Around 5% of global trade flows through Panama. 40% of all container traffic in and out of the United States passes through these locks. And the system that makes it all possible is a freshwater reservoir in a country getting drier every year. Nature gave Panama the route, and as the climate shifts, nature is steadily reclaiming it, one dry season at a time. China had been watching, and now it saw an opening it couldn't ignore. November 2024. While shipping companies scramble to manage Panama's backlog, Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega stands at a China-Latin America summit and announces that a Chinese state-backed firm, CAMC Engineering, a subsidiary of China's state-owned Sinomac, has signed on to conduct a feasibility study for a Nicaraguan canal. The proposed route? From blue fields on the Caribbean coast, across Lake Managua, known locally as Lake Jolitlan, and out to Puerto Corinto on the Pacific. That's a deliberate shift from the natural San Juan River corridor we looked at earlier. Lake Managua sits closer to the Pacific endpoint and allows a more direct crossing, at the cost of engineering through far more complex terrain. The trade-off, on paper, is worth it. 445 kilometers total, a depth of 27 to 29 meters, nearly double what Panama can offer. Built to handle 400,000-ton supertankers that can't even fit through Panama's expanded locks. Panama, by comparison, is 82 kilometers of engineered mountain crossing, maxing out at 120,000-ton vessels. This is not China's first attempt. In 2013, Chinese billionaire Wang Jing secured a 50-year concession from Nicaragua, renewable for another 50, to build a $50 billion canal. Construction was supposed to begin in 2015. Then Wang lost most of his fortune in China's stock market crash. His company disappeared, and in 2024, Nicaragua formally revoked the concession, which had sat legally dormant for years. Environmental opposition had been fierce from the start. and legal challenges were already forming before the money ran out. But this time is different. This isn't a private billionaire with borrowed capital. It's a state-backed company inside a deepening strategic partnership. Nicaragua is China's most reliable ally in the Western Hemisphere. Ortega cut ties with Taiwan, pulled Nicaragua out of the Organization of American States, and positioned his country as China's foothold in a region America has considered its backyard for over a century. Here's why this matters beyond just another infrastructure project. Global trade doesn't move freely, it moves through choke points, narrow passages where geography forces the world shipping into single lanes. The Suez Canal carries 12% of global trade. The Strait of Malacca handles 25% of everything traded by ship. Right now, every single one of those passages is controlled by a US ally or a neutral party. America doesn't block anyone. It simply has the comfort of knowing that if things went badly, the lanes would stay open. A Chinese-operated Nicaraguan canal changes that math entirely. It would be the first transoceanic passage in the Western Hemisphere outside of American influence, giving China the ability to prioritize its own shipping, slow arrivals, and in a moment of real crises, use access as a weapon. In a conflict over Taiwan, US Navy vessels from the Atlantic would need Panama. If Nicaragua were operational and China aligned, the equation shifts. Maybe ships still pass, maybe they don't. Either way, America no longer holds a monopoly on hemispheric passage. That option is called leverage, and right now, China is trying to acquire it. But there's a reason no one has built this canal in 500 years of trying. Lake Managua, the proposed centerpiece of the new route, is one of Central America's most ecologically stressed bodies of water. Decades of urban runoff from Nicaragua's capital have left it severely polluted, sitting at the heart of a densely populated region with limited environmental buffer. To accommodate supertankers, you'd have to dredge it to 27 to 29 meters and permanently connect it to two saltwater oceans. Salt intrusion along the corridor could devastate surrounding freshwater systems. The dredging operation would be one of the largest in Central American history. Indigenous and rural communities along the 445-kilometer route would face displacement, and legal opposition is already forming. The geography that makes this strategically irresistible is the same geography that makes it extraordinarily difficult to build responsibly. That tension hasn't resolved in 5 centuries. So will China actually build this? The honest answer is, we don't know. What exists right now is a feasibility study started in November 2024, with no construction commitment behind it. The first attempt collapsed. Wang Jing's $50 billion estimate, a figure analysts say hasn't changed much, proved meaningless without capital to back it. Community opposition and legal challenges remain unresolved, and Ortega's regime, for all its reliability as a Chinese partner, is not a stable foundation for a century-long investment. The odds are uncertain, it may never get built, but America can't afford to wait and see. For 120 years, from the first shovel in Panama to today, the United States shaped who crossed the Americas by ship and who didn't. It was the kind of geographic advantage that defines foreign policy, powers navies, and establishes hemispheric dominance without anyone having to say a word about it. And China just started measuring the route that America rejected in 1904 because of a stamp. The San Juan River and Lake Nicaragua have been there for millions of years, waiting. The question was never whether the geography was right. It was always who would control it. And now, China is trying to answer that question.